I want to reconvene the meeting, this 26th October 2024. Allison will lead us in pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So for those of y'all that, and when I say reconvene, we checked the election equipment. We had to test the election equipment at 8 o'clock this morning. That's actually what time the meeting started. I don't guess we have anything from Eddie. Hold on, I'm sorry, here.
Well, first, the election equipment passed its test.
Yes. Okay, last time on this things. The combined violence secretary or something from the last meeting, y'all didn't vote on it.
You want to go ahead and do that one, Alice?
Yeah, I'll just move that we approve the, what's this petition to combine the property of Robert and Dinah Bailey.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, I make a motion to accept all the exonerations presented this morning.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And because of those exonerations, we also have a refund. So a motion to approve that.
All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion to approve payroll 10/18/2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody got any questions on vouchers and invoices?
One storage something in there. It was Sam's Market Mini Storage. For $60.
Sorry, the wrong one.
I believe that has emergency management material in it that hasn't been able to be relocated yet.
Oh, right. The 7-Eleven is OEM.
Okay,
I don't know if they want to relocate it or if it's so it's convenient, if there's something that happens across the river.
yeah, that's a.
Yeah,
it
that's a
makes more
different one
sense to
than
me.
Yeah,
the-
that was the other location.
Okay. Okay,
Other than that,
No,
I didn't have anything.
no motion to approve.
second.
All in favor?
Aye. I motion to approve the minutes from October 2nd.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
State service.
I move to approve them.
Second, all in favor? Ruth?
Yep.
Okay.
Back. Did I put your quote and put in your package?
For the back?
I can't
Yeah.
approve that amount, so.
No,
And I'm trying to get another quote and the guy didn't come back with an amount, he just gave us a blank contract, so this is the only quote. It's $27,000 to get them out of the attic here and then 6,000 in some of the memorial building. So,
You know, what's funny is it's Halloween and we got Bounce in the Belfry.
yes, I do. But they're also gonna remove the
Yes.
droppings, which cause fungal disease, so, you know.
okay, so.
But- And in order to put the HVAC, to fix the HVAC in Judge Blake's courtroom, they have to go through the space where the bats are. So you gotta do that first.
What's the guarantee on it?
They sealed it all up, so, and I
It
believe
was
they did the,
For
like,
1 year
1 year?
from the date the job has been completed.
and years ago, this was done, but they didn't seal anything up because they're back.
Well, I don't see any other way to do it, but I'll make the motion to approve the expenditures.
And
I think we need to do that one separately, Tom. That one I just signed.
which one is that?
The estate of Rhonda Marie Cox.
Oh, my goodness, is that together?
Yeah,
That was, what was that?
That's the addendum there.
That's for the night or the,
No,
no,
it's a settlement, it's an estate settlement.
Okay,
It's just not, right, Michelle?
Yeah, the Ron Cox one is just an estate. settlement.
okay. But it wasn't separately noticed.
There is one here though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it.
that's different. We've got it.
at 9.
Yeah, 9:30.
So it says 1 year on the guarantee.
If there's a lot you can do with a building like this, I mean, I really don't.
Yeah, they can do their best to like seal it up, but
You have any other questions, Ms. Taylor? Or you good?
no, I mean, I think we have to do it. I mean, we have
I thought you had other
Maybe
questions
if
before
they
I,
still all open up,
Second.
it'll get rid of the birds that are always in the courthouse too.
well, what, I was just gonna say the amounts on the record, but.
It's at the top of the second page or the third page, it's right here at the top, right? This
Okay,
is the-
so
Yeah,
for the courthouse, the total is $27,401 for the bat mitigation. And then for the memorial building, it is $6,566.70.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna
I don't have to sign.
go ahead and say I moved to approve. For the record.
okay, so the next item, the EFTPS account is what we use with our old payroll system, we don't use that anymore. I'd like to just close it and transfer the money back over to general county or wherever, like general county.
No.
Cause that's just 1 month, we don't need that bank account.
I don't have a problem.
I move we approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, and then the library levy.
On that, I reviewed all of the documents that you sent us, there's bank statements and stuff. And I think we need to send a letter to the library board to make sure we clarify like what types of expenditures don't qualify for the levy fund. I know you pointed out that they had all their funds in the same account, but they probably shouldn't. So they probably need to create a separate account for the levy so we can see what they're spending on the levy. So I think we need to send them a letter asking them to do that and then we can list the one thing I saw in those expenses, which very well could have come from their own funding, but to just let them know, like, this is kind of thing the levy for, and we need to keep a separate account so we can then review it. So with that, I'll go ahead and move that we provide the library board with the quarterly report.
Second, all in favor?
Aye. You guys cool with the letter?
No, yeah. No. I think it's, yeah,
We'll have it on next agenda,
I
but
think it's the way it should be. Number 4, Rick?
Oh, it's we have several support
Yeah.
letters.
Uh,
Matter of rail trail support letter,
This is not prompt talk.
yeah.
I'll make a motion, not prompt talk.
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
And then. This is the next one, and so on.
Yeah,
Well-
did Amy have time to make the changes I made to it?
Is this from this morning or from last night? Did she change anything?
If she did, I did.
You could look.
Yeah, it looks like she made the changes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
All in favor?
aye. Thank you, Amy.
We'll make a motion to approve just the kids letter, not prompt talk.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then,
Oh, Mayor Primore is here. He called me the other day and asked, they made a couple of adjustments to the fence around the ball field that we approved ARPA money for and shortened it by 2 feet from 10 to 8. So it saves some money. And And by saving that money, he has identified a couple of other projects that the remaining money could support. You want to tell them what those are?
Basically, we have no seating at the minor league field. So we could purchase bleachers for 2 sets of bleachers, are what we're looking at. Also, we're looking at lighting, which this will not cover all the lighting costs, but we're going to LED lights on the major league field. We'd like to do that, trying to do as much improvement as we possibly can, with funding that we got, then add it to it.
Can you put it in writing for us and send it to us?
Absolutely.
And then that way we could have something to staple it to the original.
Okay, well, are you guys cool with him? It's about, the amount that's left over is about 20,000, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, well, assuming that we don't run into any addition to the fence once we put it up, it's about 18,000, right?
My motion to approve.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll get you the list of improvements.
I'll stay in this one.
Thank you.
This is the EMTG grant award document. It's basically, I don't even remember what one last time.
Okay,
To get our money back.
all right, I move we approve it.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
And then Amy's gonna run in for her records management part, and I will go scan this letter, so see if I. Huh? Yeah, you can do it. There's
There she
Amy.
is.
There she is. Yeah.
She's the other snooper. Okay, your records management, Amy.
We have 2 applications, one's from the assessor to extend what they're doing right now, which is a scanning project. They were approved last year for 2 scanners and labor, to scan all of their map cards and digitize those. They need a lot more labor, so they're applying for the full amount that they can get, which is 15,000, to continue and hopefully finish that project. And then Michelle is asking for an extension of her project from 2 years ago, to purchase some additional map cabinets. That project was successful, and they actually were able to find a couple of maps that are missing because they were shoved in other. Yeah, yeah, so it's been good for their office and for the general public. So they would like to have some additional cabinets. So you just need to prioritize 1 over 2.
So
And I don't know.
labor, and the others for,
One's for the additional cabinets, map cabinets.
do you have room for those cabinets?
Well, how,
Don't find me an office for.
so you said the labor's 15,000, how much are the cabinets?
7.
7, I was gonna say there were 7.
Yeah, so our match is like 1,000 something for the cabinets and 1,500, I guess, for the like, yeah.
Maybe best take the labor then with the grant.
Yeah, I was
They'll
gonna say,
most likely get both. In my experience, if we ask for 2, we get 2.
Well, I agree, but I would.
if we did, I'd be willing to,
$15,000, half of that. Is that what it is, half of it?
Yeah.
I'd rather be obligated to half of that one than, because we get more of it if we
Shoot for the
don't.
15 and then
if
pay
we-
ourselves. for
yeah.
the 7.
You know what I'm saying, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yep, I agree with that. So I move that we approve them and that so assessor first for the labor
Mhm.
and clerk second. But if for any reason it's denied, be sure to get it back on the agenda so we can consider funding it, okay?
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
and then your,
Yeah, I got one more. This is the CFIA grant. This is the roof.
it's one of those 2 tapes.
I made it,
about last
it's
time.
just for Tom. Yes, I made it very clear for him to sign.
In between the 2 pieces of tape.
Yeah, I've had
Very
to run
tiny,
up-
I'm
I think
sorry.
I've had to run over here multiple times signing on place. Not motion to approve.
That's
Second,
the last one.
All in favor?
aye,
So they need to sign the report.
And the letter.
Look, the letter is the report.
I want the letter to have all 3 of our names on it.
If you can just make this any
The
smaller,
city, they specifically say just the county commission president.
if you can make this any smaller, I'd appreciate it.
I tried to make it bigger. I put it in the PDF, so I
It's
could.
316
It's still hurt on the tape a little
That's
bit.
okay.
My gosh.
All right, so we've approved, so go ahead.
And you got one, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then, did you have the reimbursement request as well?
There's a report, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
It's all there together. And then the bid opening, it is not good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, this is for the HVAC for the Blake's courtroom.
we have four. Casto Technical Services, Appalachian Heating.
You want the two?
I'll know who this is in a minute. And Childers Enterprises.
Is it okay to open them?
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I'll announce it when I open the downtown thing. It just says, oh, Rich's Refrigeration Inc. And so. But it's not outside. There. That's. Double envelope. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it didn't have sealed bid on the outside.
Finger on the inside, yeah.
Yeah. I think this unit is the one that's on the back. I feel like it's back there and we're gonna have to have a crane to take the old one off. And the old one that was left the last time this one was. And put a new one up.
It's them.
You want, we waiting until all of them are opened up or?
I think we can go ahead and start reading, and this is gonna take a minute.
Okay, I have,
Very well taped.
I have Casto Technical Services. Their bid's 36,200. They have their surety bond included along with their business license and insurance. 36,200.
Appalachian Heating's 29,800.
Do they have their bond?
$29,800 for those who,
They have their bond and everything with it?
it looks like it. But we still gotta send them these to, we still have to send them to the,
Yeah,
Yeah, somebody will have to review them.
he's gonna check them out, so.
well, and then Childers is for 26,282, and there is no license or bond attached. There's only the estimate.
Good.
Was there a pre-bid meeting in this one?
They had to come and inspect it there.
Do you wanna put these back on the next agenda after he
For to approve the.
make sure everything's?
It may be till the end of the day before I can get this one open, so we.
You want me to help you?
I'm gonna put children back in the.
Yeah. Oh, included a Wells Fargo document in here that's not related.
It's not the bond.
It's about a credit card application.
Oh, that
Oops.
Right on there approved. They're probably wondering why they never got heard back from that. Never sent me anything back.
Alright, so. This bid is in the amount of $33,541.73. It's Rich's Refrigeration, Sutton. Let's see, it has the liability insurance in here, contractor's license. And the bond. What that last page is, he mentions the bond amount.
You wanna put that on the. On the line for 30.
30th. Right, 30th.
Let's stick it back in Fort Knox, hopefully you can get it back
Yeah.
out.
Rich's Refrigeration. Rich's.
Riches
From Sutton.
from Sutton. No, here's the bank document.
Airport Road and Sutton and Jennifer.
I knew that wasn't there.
Well, it's,
9/21.
yeah,
So the next thing is. Calls.
Don't we need to have this hearing at 9:30?
Yeah, they 9:30 though.
10 minutes, we got 9 minutes, John.
Oh. You can look at that
I know,
stupid clock.
it's probably Dollar General clock, one does the same thing. Canal Falls PSD regarding the archives pictures. I didn't put the finalized, because there was some, I think, questions. Like about the date, if you want to put here, it might be later.
What date do we want them to come in? On the 30th?
I mean, I don't have a problem. John,
What's that?
you don't have a problem with 30th?
No,
And then we can print it on letterhead, and y'all can see it. And I think that last paragraph deals with what you have suggested.
Yeah, I was gonna say, read the last paragraph. That relates to the separate issue. That you raised.
Okay, so
I don't know if you wanna, we can easily do that in a separate letter, or if you're fine with it being on. Kind of a separate and apart. Does not make a difference to the office.
well, for the public's information, this is to address a concern that Kanawha Falls PSD represented to the Public Service Commission that it had money in its account, a grant from the Fayette County Commission that would tend to prove it was able to afford to take on some responsibilities it wanted to take on. When in fact that money was specifically earmarked for certain expenditures. And I think it was a miscommunication between the board and the PSD manager who signed the letter we sent with the funds, rather than it going through the board for a vote. So this letter is to address that issue, to remind them of what the funds are supposed to be spent for and when, and telling them that, if they are not, that they will be clawed back. And it also addresses the issue that one of the board members, we've heard has now resides out of county, and if so, that he no longer is eligible to serve and they will need to replace him. So that's the basis of the letter. So you guys want to go ahead and approve the letter and just add in it, invite them to the next meeting to
Yeah, it's fine. I
Explain
don't
this
have a problem with it.
to it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, I'm gonna move that we approve the letter and that we ask the board to attend the October 30th meeting of the commission.
Second, all in favor?
And can they stamp for us, because this isn't on record?
Yeah, I don't have a problem stamping for it.
Dawn,
yes.
okay, me too.
We got the website review.
We had a we had an independent professor at West Virginia Tech take a look at the website, and she did a comprehensive analysis and did it for free and provided it to us, with the keeping in mind that we wanted it to be professional looking behaving and, it's not. Thankful we didn't have her review the one we're currently using. This is our draft one for the new website. So I wrote a letter thanking her and it needs to have CC to Dr. Stewart though, and I don't see that on here.
Okay, we have it.
Okay, so, so I wanna make sure the president of tech knows that she did this for us. And, on that front, also with regard to the website, I think we ought to advertise for a graphics designer, have Ruth take a look and see what she can find out, maybe even talk to the person who did the review, just to see if we can identify a graphics designer who can make some of these changes, get the website set up professionally, and then we can work with GST or whoever to manage it once it's designed. But it's just, it's a mess, like the way they, Amy was a mess. And there are links that, didn't even, one link went to Wetzel County for Pete's sake. Another one went to the wrong Humane Society. So it's, it just needs a lot of work.
Well, I hate to bring this up, Miss Taylor. I had somebody do all this relatively cheap to the county. And,
Oh, I remember you, it was actually when I first started,
his
you were
first time?
accused of cheating or whatever.
Yeah. It's been very well done for the county and it cost a little bit of nothing.
Yep.
And then after the meeting, he said, Tom, I will never be back to a meeting. And it would cost 10 times as much if the county
Well,
wants
the
it.
meetings
So,
aren't as hostile as they used to be.
yeah. So,
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
but I understood him. That wasn't blaming me either.
No, I don't blame him.
So you want,
So, I wanna move that we approve having county administrator advertise for a website designer.
Second,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Am I missing anything?
The letter you need to vote on.
do you want to?
Did we vote on the letter?
Other letter? That one, you did need to vote on that letter. didn't
Oh,
you?
yeah, well, I'll go ahead and move that we vote on the letter of appreciation, sending the letter of appreciation to Dr. Bragg.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then similarly, we also need to vote to have, ask Anthony to send another letter. We thought he's already sent one to GST.
Yeah.
About recovering the money that we've put into website design and management, because they have not designed or managed a website for us yet in 2 years.
Now, I do want to mention the person I've requested probably had it done in 3 months. It's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. So, but anyway, I just had to mention.
Anyway, I move that we approve having our council send another letter to GST asking for credit
Second.
or refund for the website money.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and, let's go ahead and, we got 2 minutes. Can we do
Yeah.
that last one in 2 minutes, Ruth?
No, and can we take a quick break before that hearing?
I guess a 2-minute break.
A 2-minute break. Well, I'm fine with the 2-minute break. I'll have this.
Yes. No, I'm gonna call the meeting back to order. We have a hearing of the state, and I'm gonna let Miss Taylor take this, and since she's the larger of the 3 of us.
Throwing me under the bus. So I read all of the documents and I discussed them with the prosecuting attorney, and it's my understanding and the county clerk. That the issue here is a dispute about who should be the administratrixes of the estate. Is that right?
Yes.
Usually in a case like this, we would refer it to our fiduciary commissioners. We have a handful of them that will take depositions and take information and then make a recommendation to us about who we should select. So it's my opinion, and I think that of our council, prosecuting attorney, that that's what we should do in this case, because it seems there's a lot in there. I mean, I saw the adverse possession letter. I saw, plenty of reasons as a lawyer that I think a lawyer needs to help you get some facts out on the record and then make a recommendation to the commission, because while I am a lawyer, that's not my role up here. And so,
My name is Beverly Hall. I represent Elizabeth Graves and Dreama Ellswick as well. So, I mean, I've reviewed it and I can make a recommendation, but if you feel like you need to.
are you a lawyer?
Yes, I'm an attorney.
Okay, but they would need, the other party doesn't have an attorney.
I
does she?
understand.
My other sister right here.
She's not represented by counsel.
Okay.
So I understand.
Okay, but you see where I'm coming from, like right now, like we're really not the best equipped to hear evidence and do, you know. Take testimony from everybody, I mean, in something like this that's contested, I mean, we'd rather see. What the fiduciary commissioner comes up with, and they're local lawyers, and they'll sit down, they'll go through the process and interview everybody, and then they make a recommendation to us, that's how it works. Yes, ma'am.
In May, I came up from North Carolina and applied for being the administrator. Is that stand in the school?
Well, that is what's being contested right now, and usually when we have a dispute about who should be the administratrix of the will, then we refer it to the fiduciary commissioner to figure out if the person who's currently assigned is legally competent and proper to be the person, if they've been doing what they're supposed to do. If that person finds that person hasn't been doing what they're supposed to do, then that would be grounds to make a recommendation to us to replace that person. And, based on the testimony that, they're both men, so that he collects, then that recommendation is gonna be, you know, based on what he learns during that testimony. So if he thinks the current administratrix should be removed and that she should be replaced with the other two who want to be administratrix, then he's gonna make that recommendation. If he thinks the current administratrix should stay, then he's gonna make that recommendation. And then we'll go from there. So at this point, I'm gonna move that we refer this to fiduciary commissioner.
Second. All in favor?
Anthony, is there anything else we need to address?
I don't believe so.
Michelle? Ms. Hall, did you have anything you wanted to say?
All the estate needs is, well, we just need a final settlement. There were the copies that they gave.
So that's the county clerk, who's talking right there, this
Okay,
prosecuting
sorry,
attorney.
I'm
I'm
not
just letting you
familiar
know who's who, so, go ahead and tell her what you had to say, Michelle.
Yeah, no, I said, all that's needed necessary at this point is a final settlement. The final number, I mean, everything else was 20 years ago. We just
And you
didn't
know,
get
the
that.
property issue, we don't have jurisdiction in Fayette County over that property issue in North Carolina.
Just a moment, I'll apologize. Kind of on it, like, the clerk in North Carolina said that you guys do have jurisdiction over that. They're bouncing it back and forth. Due to the will,
Yes.
devising that between the parties.
I'm all,
Are you, so you're a West Virginia lawyer, right?
I
Because you
am, yeah.
represent the parties who
Yes.
live here.
I'm only barred in West Virginia.
Okay, yeah, so, well, it's not the same, but I'm not part of North Carolina.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that?
Not to be, I'm licensed in West Virginia, I'm not licensed in North Carolina. If we assume that North Carolina law is consistent with West Virginia law, we do not have jurisdiction to address ownership interests in a piece of property that is situated in the state of North Carolina.
well, can I ask a question? I'm not a lawyer by far, but where did they pass away at?
Here, she was,
In Fayette
Here,
County?
I have a copy of the will that devises that property.
we have copies,
You
we have copies of all of that.
So, I thought usually where they
I
passed
mean,
away.
the estate has to be probated in the county of the residence where the decedent passed. Or not where they actually died, but where the decedent was living at the time of
Right,
their death.
right.
But this claim of adverse possession, in my opinion, has absolutely nothing to do with the estate. Ownership of that property will pass by way of the estate, and then the competing interests as to whether or not there's a valid adverse possession claim, in my opinion, need to litigate it in North Carolina. I mean, I don't see how West Virginia is the appropriate venue to address ownership interests in a piece of property that's situated
But if everybody
two
agrees,
states away.
if everybody agrees in the estate distribution, it would be fine. Is that correct or not?
I mean, that would just simply be an agreement. I mean, the parties can agree. I mean, if you can get the parties to agree, they can certainly agree to whatever they want. But I kind of took it from what I reviewed that the adverse possession claim is going to be contested.
Okay.
But again, like I said, in West Virginia, you have to litigate ownership interests in the county where the property is situated. And again, I don't know what the law, I don't know what the law is in North Carolina, but it's nonsensical to me that North Carolina would acquiesce to West Virginia addressing ownership interests in a piece of property that is situated in a state that's two states away. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Can I step up? I'm sorry. It's my understanding that there's no active lawsuit that was filed in North Carolina right now. There was a letter that was sent that my client has a copy of. Do you guys have a copy of that letter? Okay, there's no active lawsuit there now, so if the fiduciary committee recommends that, the current executrix be removed from the estate, then I think that would probably solve this issue of fighting over this North Carolina property. So to me, like, I can't find any documentation of an active lawsuit filed in North Carolina right now. There's just a letter that was sent.
Yeah, that's all I saw. I didn't.
And my paralegal has looked and she can't find anything either, so.
Well,
Yeah, the only thing we have is a letter, which I didn't take to be the institution of a legal proceeding, but the person making this claim needs to consult with a lawyer in North Carolina, not with a clerk.
what has to happen, Michelle? What has to happen to close out the estate at this point?
We just need a final accounting, so either receipts, disbursements and distributions form or an affidavit waiver of settlement.
Okay, so what is the reason that your clients are seeking a change in administratrix at this point?
I'll try to put it in a nutshell. I have a timeline that I can go through, but long story short, this family has seen a lot of death, a lot of illness, and the executrix has changed hands multiple times. And so since the appointment of the current executrix, she has not sold the property in North Carolina. It's come to our attention that she has maybe sold some of the items that were in the will to be devised, like personal property, like boats. And she has just not done what she's supposed to do. So that's why we filed this motion and why we're seeking, my client and her sister Dreama to be appointed instead.
Okay, and that is usually the type of thing we send to the fiduciary commissioner to sort out. I just wondered if it was a matter of something simple that could be resolved and then the property issue could be hammered out, but it sounds like there are other things that weren't handled or allegedly weren't handled the way you think they should have been handled.
That's accurate.
Okay, so did I already make the motion?
I think you did.
I thought I did.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we already voted.
Okay, yeah, I think we did. And I saw we have another lawyer behind our outside counsel behind our prosecuting attorney, and he was nodding in agreement with the prosecuting attorney. So I think with regard to that North Carolina property, it probably is going to have to be litigated down there. But as far as getting the estate here closed, that's something the fiduciary commissioner will help get done. Okay. All right.
Well,
The property is already closed. It's already been sold. Yes, yeah, oh, yeah, property there, yeah, in West Virginia, yeah.
But the estate has not been closed yet. So that's what's pending here.
And can it not be closed, and so we can follow through with the North Carolina? So I think, because I am the, Carolina.
Well, right now, they are saying that that they're concerned that you did not handle the things that were your responsibility to handle and distribute the funds from it to the beneficiaries.
That was already done.
My brother distributed all the funds and everything that my parents had. And that's why I don't understand what was going on. He did distribute that. He took care of that when he was living of the fund, but that was in West Virginia.
So where do the boats come in? They were in North Carolina.
A boat and a truck, North Carolina. The
Okay.
boats were given to me by my mother. No, it was given to her son.
But stop.
So that's where, so there, since there is a dispute, because they disagree with you, that's why the fiduciary commissioner needs to get involved to, you know, assess credibility of the claims, look at any evidence you guys have of any of that, and then make some recommendations with regard to who should close out the estate. And he'll make those recommendations to us, and then we will make the decision based on those recommendations.
What is the timeline on that? Like, how long does that take?
Any idea, Michelle?
I mean, we'll refer it, I was just checking, the next fiduciary commissioner, in rotation is Larry Hare. So once he accepts it, he'll look at it and he'll see if he's ever done any work, typically see if he has conflict. Like if he's done something else for someone involved, he'll say you can't. If he accepts it, then he'll reach out to you with the fees and his schedule. It just depends on his schedule about when he can schedule a hearing. Yeah, and
Can we put a timeline on it?
I mean, you can try.
I mean, I'd like to.
I mean, it makes sense for the time.
I like to put a timeline on it.
If not, it could linger off for 6 more months.
Is a month, Anthony, is a month of fair? 30 days, fair number of days,
Until,
till Larry can
Somebody accepts it.
provide a
maybe?
recommendation back to us.
Oh, okay.
that's kind of quick,
Okay, 45 days.
better, but I mean, I can't,
Make a recommendation to me.
I mean, I think 60 days.
Okay, 60 days then. That work for you, Miss Hall? It never works quick, but I mean,
I figured, but it's okay.
What about 10 days to accept or deny? Because we could say it's gonna be 60 days and
Lisa can call her and find out.
okay, we can do that. We'll do that. Can we do that? Can you make sure she does that and then just goes on to the next one? You know, they don't give you an answer within a day or two. Just move on.
Pretty good about letting us. It's really good about letting us know when they don't want to do it, so. It never takes long at all.
Well, she might want to mention that there's a 60-day suspense on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna look at my calendar because I want to definitely make sure there's no question. So we'll just say, I mean, we'll just say it has to be done by December 15th. Or 16th, I'm sorry, 16th, because that's a Monday. And work colleagues.
I'm good.
All right, we'll move on to the next.
Number 10, or 10 o'clock, excuse me.
Are they on line?
I thought.
are we gonna go into executive session?
Yeah, I
Do
thought,
you want to do that first?
yeah, I
Yes.
think it's, I think
Yeah.
that's what the commission wants to.
So right now, I want to move that we go into executive session for, to discuss three different subjects. One is the bead application. And that's for the purposes of legal advice. The fire, support letter is for legal advice, and the number 10 on exhibit A for the employee request for accommodations, that's for, personnel.
13.
13, number 13.
What did you say?
And,
Oh,
Yeah, so.
close enough. No, it was-
all right, going in at, what time is it?
It was tough.
9:50.
I want to call the meeting back to order. We got some questions answered from the lawyer. Decision was made. I think we got a 10 o'clock with the city net. I'm gonna let Miss Taylor take it from here.
Okay, well, Region 4 was gonna present, I think, a bead application or support letter request for a bead application for CityNet. Okay, or CityNet.
Yeah.
Morning, Commissioners. How are you?
Good?
Sorry I couldn't be there in person. I am traveling today. So I'll give you a brief history on CityNet. We are a West Virginia owned company. Our headquarters is in Bridgeport. We have an office in Charleston, Morgantown, and Wheeling. We've got a significant network kind of surrounding you, and network to come in that area with future builds. We are applying for the BEAD money. That is the $1.2 billion coming down from the federal government. The state released a map that shows all unserved, underserved, and community anchor institutions in the state, and they must present to the federal government in April a plan that covers every one of those addresses. This is an all or none adventure for the state. So they either present a plan that covers every one of those addresses to get access to that money, and if they can't do that, they get $0 of that money. So they have to get this correct. So hopefully those will be submitted in April. And maybe this time a little bit later next year, the awards will be made and construction can hopefully begin in 2026. And those are a required 4-year build. There's a scoring rubric for this. The majority of the points come from lowest capital outlay, just like a water sewer project or whatever, low bidder. One of the scoring criteria, though, is a letter of support from the local government. And so we are seeking today a letter of support for Fayette County for our application for all unserved, underserved, and community anchor institutions.
I got one question. You said lower bidder gets it. Is that so anybody that bids for this area here, if you was the lower bid, you would automatically get the BEAD money? Is that correct?
Well, that's the highest scoring rubric. I guess it would depend on how you scored on the rest of that rubric, but the majority of the points do come from lowest capital outlay, and that's a federal requirement.
Okay.
Do you know what the other criteria are?
Yeah, it's workforce development, your labor laws, letter of government support, economic impact, things like that. There is a map that's on the state's web page, and I can send that to you if you'd like, so you can see if you have not seen that. It's really the northeastern part, kind of down dead center through the part of your county coming through Fayetteville, and the far eastern corner is where the majority of your of the shaded areas, which are the fundable addresses. We are not asking any financial contributions from counties, as we feel many counties, would have already built these if they could, if it was profitable. So some people are asking. We are not asking for any financial contribution from counties. We are just asking for a letter of support.
If we agree to give you a letter of support, and we also agree to give another company a letter of support, would that make a difference?
It could if we were very neck and neck on all the rest of the points. Obviously that would have a bigger difference. I mean, if one was much higher than the other, the 20 points that's allotted or whatever for this letter of support wouldn't mean much. But if it was a close application with the rest of the points, it definitely would mean something.
What if they haven't performed? What if you or the other company hasn't performed like they should have using state or federal money? Do they take that into consideration?
I can't answer that, to be honest. That's the Tilson group, and the state office would have to look at that. And you would like to hope so. I do know that they've put precautions in place, so some of the issues that's happened in the past can't happen again. For instance, this is a reimbursable program, so it's not get the money up front. CityNet would have to submit invoices. Those are reviewed, and then we get repaid for any of that work. It is a 25% match, which CityNet is covering that match, but on any of the grant dollars, it's reimbursable. It's not money given up front. So I do think, have learned some lessons of the past and changed procedures a little bit.
Does CityNet have plans with regard to Fayette County? I know you guys have some things going on in nearby counties.
Yeah, we do in the nearby county. yeah, in the nearby counties right now, but no, Fayetteville or Fayette County, I think, had pursued some other options and grant awards, and I don't think those were awarded. So we do not have any private investment plans in Fayette County right now.
So without any investment coming or planned, why should we give you a letter of support?
Because we're surrounding you, so we would just build from that existing network.
Well, you know that CityNet was our choice had that funding come through.
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Okay, well, I'm gonna move that we approve this letter for CityNet.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
You still have questions, John?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I would like to hear from the other company that's asked us for it before we make a decision. Not that. I just want to hear I want to hear it from both sides before I say yay or nay.
I don't have a problem with that.
We can withdraw, I'll withdraw the motion temporarily.
I would draw the second. All to say aye on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, commissioners, I do have another commission meeting, so I'm going to jump off the call. But if you have any questions, I believe Mr. Tuggle is on here and he can get you my cell phone. And I can answer, via text here for a little bit, or if you have any follow-up questions later, I can answer anything that way for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
Let's talk to John Temple real quick. Can you unmute John?
Yeah, hang on a second. Hello.
Hey, John.
Hey.
Hey, John.
Hi.
So we just heard from CityNet and we're about to hear from Frontier about its BEAD application support. And before we let Frontier start talking, I just want to know what you know about the progress Frontier has made in Fayette County with regard to the 3 federal grants it's already received, the BTOP, the CAF2, and the RDOF.
And as far as the progress there, I'd have to defer to Frontier. I have no idea what kind of progress they've made. I do know they've done work in the area. I've seen the activity, and I've heard from some residents where they are working that they're happy that the speeds are up, but that I have no idea as far as how proliferant that has progressed.
Okay. All right. Well, Frontier.
By the way, this is Jordan Burgess. He has been in and out of political stuff for quite some time.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me. Heard your question. I can get you exact counts on those programs. I don't have them in front of me today. I'll say this about RDOF. It is a 10-year reimbursement program as well. So it's not like we got a bunch of money up front. 40% of projects have to be done by December 31st, 2025. We want 79,000 locations in the state. We are on track for those. And then an additional 20% every single year closing out December 31, 2028.
How many of those have been completed in Fayette County of our 860?
I don't have that number in front of me. I promise I'll get that to you. Absolutely. I know that there was a lot built in like Putnam County and Mason already. I'm trying to remember if Fayette was one. I don't have that off the top of my head, but I can get you the exact counts because I also wouldn't want to tell you, yes, there has been, and it's been 10 and that's not progressed in your all size. So let me get you an exact number and time frame for what that is actually with RDOF. So you can have an exact number.
I would want that information before we made a decision on the support letter though.
Okay.
Because my concern is, and I'll just tell you that because we were involved in the Gig Ready application that we did and received some presentations from the Economic Development Office at the state level. And our Broadband Commission representatives have left us with the impression that Frontier was awarded a lot of this federal money. And then as a result, no one else could compete for federal funds for broadband in the areas in which Frontier was rewarded. Frontier didn't make progress in those areas. Among those areas is Fayette County. And as a result, we were unable to have any other company apply to do the things we needed to do.
And I'll say this back as it comes to BEAD. Whenever the BEAD program came out, there was roughly 160,000 locations that were available through that. Also, whenever they went and did the address challenges and matches, that number went down to 112,000. So while people can't build where Frontier got from the BEAD program, where Frontier received, we also are ineligible for places where they're building within the BEAD program as well. So that's how the addresses went from 160,000 addresses to 112. So I would say that the federal, this is all federal, they're making sure that there's no duplicity in funding being spent, and that number with RDOF would tell you the progress that is being made.
So what, do you know what the number is? Because isn't it supposed to be reported soon?
At the end, I think it's reported annually, so it should be coming up, yes, and I can give you all progress from this year. I'll say this, in the past 3 years, we've built out 250,000 fiber locations in West Virginia. And we're the one company with a presence in all 55 counties. So we have,
Set locations as of homes and businesses.
yes.
That's really not a whole lot.
It's more than anybody else. For direction, the broadband office has built out 2,800.
Yeah, but how many do you have presently?
Present, well, I'll have to go in and look at that. It's just.
If you had 10 and you
Yeah.
built out 250, I see it's a lot. If
Yeah.
you had 2 million and you built out 250, it's not a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. 250,000 is a great number and accomplishments comparing to where we were years ago. And we understand the complaints about Frontier and copper wiring system that exists historically. And we get that, we understand it. What I would say is, that's the point of these programs and the letters of support, is to improve that, to make sure. And we're not sitting on these federal programs, CityNet actually phrased it perfectly. We didn't get a lump sum of money that we're sitting on and not doing work on projects. We don't get the money. There's accountability in this. The BEAD program, 25% of it has come from us in this program. And then also she brought up scoring rubric. A community support is great, but she mentioned the other scoring rubrics. That was part of our proposal to you all, because we want ours to be comprehensive. We want to make sure we're reaching education in the county, whether that be CTCs, your K through 12, economic development projects. We actually want to meet. She brought up like 80% being lowest scoring. We also want to reach that final 20% that goes beyond community support, because we want vested interests in all those areas to make sure that we're getting support. And I'll say this from your all's points, and I think Mr. Tuggle will understand this as well. I've talked to John many times about this. Backing multiple providers, it was asked earlier, is not a bad idea, because also there's multiple target areas in the county. So you could have CityNet applying for some parts in the county, Frontier in some parts, and different providers in different areas. So it would cover your basis to make sure that everybody in your county that providers will reach everybody in those target areas. Because Fayette, I think I looked at like 5 or 6 different target areas in their county. And so that would lead to believe that there's a chance that some providers apply for different parts.
But you're already in the county, right?
Yeah.
Where were you looking toward expanding in Fayette County? You were to receive these funds?
As we go through the BEAD process, going to work right away with the BEAD monies and the RDOF. I mean, we're working on RDOF. We're building out locations already across state.
But do you have the locations in Fayette County identified?
Yes, and I would love to share those with you offline, since this is, there are other competitors that are looking
You already said that you target each competitor may have certain
We
areas.
don't know where they're applying
Well, I mean,
also.
what if you apply for the same place?
Then that's where the competition will come
To
into
me, what
place.
I would do is you needed to apply for outside of it,
I mean, I would
or
love to
outside
know.
of your serving area.
Yeah, of course, we will. That's part of this, is outside of it.
Okay, well, is the information you said you could get for us something you could get, like, while we handle other issues today?
I can try my best, yes.
Okay, and then maybe we can, go into executive session to hear the competitive
The list.
list. Will help us make a decision.
It seems like you'd have that handy. And you could get it pretty handy, because if y'all already
soon as
make
I
plans
step
to
outside.
do that,
I'll
you
step
should have,
outside.
you should have that information. I mean, I would.
Okay. Well, I think let's do that then. So.
Okay.
Son, you have
give
any
a chance to-
questions?
No, I mean, I wanted to hear the list and
Yeah,
the questions
Give 'em a
Allison asked was
chance.
really good.
give a chance to get some information,
Sure.
see what you can find out for us.
Yep, absolutely. I'll work
Thank
with
you.
it. Thank you.
Okay, so, still need to go back to that one. We wanna move on to our fire stuff. Okay, well, we've got the budgets, we've got the bid results, we've got the support letter and fit test machine. Do we have the bid envelopes or?
We opened it in Bruce's office.
I watched him open them. I gave him my notes. Could you read it?
I mean, I can if you want
Do
to.
you wanna come up and just let us know what you wanna do?
Yeah. As far as the easy one to go with is gonna be the thermal energy camera. We wanna go with the Seek brand from MES. It's the one we like. It's the simplest. They work good and it's the cheapest price one, so. I mean, it's $90,864. That is for 2 cameras per station with truck chargers and chargers for station as well.
So it's complete. How many total of 28?
32. We have 16 stations, so it'll be 32.
How much money was allotted for that? All of it?
We got 216,000 in that
That's one.
account, so. I mean,
That's okay, that's the state money.
yeah, we got 200. I think I'm close. I don't know exactly what it
We
is.
got another, they've already started on this year, so.
Yeah, and I mean, both of them come to, I think, like 170 something or something like that. I didn't add them together, but it can be done.
What is the reason for 2 per station? Just out of
Well,
curiosity.
it's for 2 trucks. I mean,
Every
you may
station.
need one truck at the front of the building, truck at the back of the building. If you only got 1 camera,
So, no, but remember, I'm a layperson, so I'm just trying to.
Gotcha,
Ask a
gotcha,
question.
yeah.
So what about for the smaller, do all the smaller departments have that same need?
I mean, every station's got at least 2 trucks.
At least 2.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, and what about the gas monitors?
We want to go with the Industrial Scientific. It's apples for apples with the Drager. It's about $8,000 more than the Drager, but it comes with a lifetime warranty, where the Drager comes with a 4-year warranty. Plus, they got the capability of communicating between each other, where the Drager don't. They do a lot more than what the Drager gas monitor does. It comes in at $80,448.
I think we've already pre-approved this.
Yeah, I thought we did.
80,400.
Is that 1 per station in that case, or?
That's 2 gas monitors and 1 calibration unit per station.
Yeah, I thought we did approve.
Yeah, we've already pre-approved it.
Yeah, so it's
I believe so.
80,400.
It is 87,955. Sorry, that was a different one. I was looking on British sheet. Got screwed up.
Just for
87,955.
clarity, let's go ahead and I'll
Yeah.
make a motion that we approve the vendor selected The $90,864 for the thermal imaging and the $87,955 for the gas monitors.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Josh. And then fit test machine,
Maybe Margaret.
You might as well just stay there.
Yeah, the rest of them will be you, I believe.
We want to go with the AccuFit. I got 3 bids on it. It's not near the money. This stuff is, I think within the requirements, you just got to get 3 bids or 3 quotes. It was right at 10,000. I got it on my phone. And I'd sent it to Ruth as well already.
Yeah, I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah, I think you forwarded.
It's been a month or so ago.
Yeah, I remember seeing it.
But it's like 10 grand. It was the cheap one, plus it's the one that the majority of the people in the county are used to using. So I mean, we've had it before, so.
Does someone have to be certified in order to do the test?
You don't have to be certified, you just gotta take a training on it. It's not really
Okay.
but the company that sells the machine offers the training. AccuFit does.
All right, and if any guys have a beard,
Right, you have to shave. You have to be clean shaven to be fit tested.
and is there something in there that says, if we fit test you and you grow a beard back, your machine may not fit?
Yeah, we sign a paper, I think, right on it. Something.
We have a, Fayetteville has a waiver,
Okay,
but I don't know what it is.
Okay, all right, just wondered about that.
yeah.
who's gonna be doing the fit testing?
I mean, I can do it. I've been through the training with Charleston, so like I say, almost anybody that works at Charleston's had to do it. So there's 10, 11, 12 of us from Fayette County that work at Charleston now, so.
Where is the machine gonna be located?
I mean, without a head person, I don't know. I mean, it would just have to be at a station. I mean,
That's what I think. I think it probably needs to be at. one
but
of the
it's probably
departments.
gonna have to end up going around,
How big is it?
It's not real big. It comes in a briefcase. I mean, but
So it's.
yeah, it's portable. But that's what I mean, to ask the whole county to come to Oak Hill or Fayetteville to get fit tested is probably what needs to happen. Is one person go a month to a station on their meeting night.
So it's only gonna be used for firefighters of Fayette County.
Yeah.
And is there room at some of the fire stations for it, Fayetteville or Oak Hill?
I mean, we'll have to figure that out. I mean, I'm sure we'll do. I mean, we can.
Well, I agree with them that it should travel to the departments, but I just think at least one department needs to take responsibility for its stewardship. You know what I mean? To make sure, like, that's its HQ, and then if it needs to go to somewhere else, it can go to somewhere else.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure I can get somebody
Get
to.
somebody to take it on.
I mean, I think we can make a motion for that, put that in it too, couldn't we?
Yeah. Have somebody take the responsibility for it.
We have 2 chiefs of we have the 3 biggest departments in here.
Yeah.
Any of you take one?
We can do, we'll do it, or I'll do it, one of us.
We'll post it, like you say, it'll travel scheduled
Okay.
to a meeting night, the chief can pick it up, or someone can deliver it. It'll be just communication that.
Okay, all right.
I think it's important to have, and do we still have funding left out of that state money that we can purchase this with too?
It sounds like we do because we've received another payment.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the fit test machine and have it located at either Oak Hill or Fayetteville.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. But I do wanna make sure it is for Fayette County firefighters. Okay.
Okay, who's gonna do the letter about the training center?
Michael.
No, which one of,
No.
I have questions about it, the fire training center letter, who's gonna give the answer of the. Is Ron on? Yeah, he's on. Okay. I'll talk. He's got. All right, so, what I'm trying to figure out is and it's not clear from the letter per se, is what's the authority for, creating a county fire training and fire prevention unit? In other words, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I get the sense that the ultimate goal of this county fire and training prevention unit is to ultimately be recognized by the state fire marshal as essentially a fire department, go through their evaluation criteria and things of that nature. Is that right? Is that the ultimate goal?
Is he unmuted?
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you now.
Okay, no, we do not want to be a fire station. That's not what this is about. I've been working with the fire marshal's office on this for over a month now. This will give us the opportunity for funding for grants. That way we do not have to have a fire department sponsor us like we do with everything else. This will cover our instructors to go out and teach in the general public, or if businesses or the Board of Education wants to come to the training center. It's just giving us other venues to acquire more funding because, Allison in the past has asked us about checking on grants, and this is one way for us to do that.
So, it said in the letter that you're seeking a fire department ID number, though. Is that what your ultimate goal is, to get a fire department ID number?
No, when we talk to the fire marshal's office, they don't give those out to these units. They acknowledge them as a county fire prevention unit. It doesn't have to go through all the restrictions as a fire department, though.
Okay, so in other words, what you're asking for is for the county to create a county fire prevention unit. And that is, you want to call it the county fire training and fire prevention unit, and you want the county basically to create a county fire prevention unit. That's going to be the designation of that.
We would like to do this if the county commissioners approve us to do this. That way we can continue doing what we're doing at the training center, and we could get grants to fund those.
Right. But the problem is, so, I'm not a firefighter and anything like that. I'm just trying to figure out the legality of this. And so, the West Virginia code recognizes that the county may form a county fire prevention unit. But it does, that same code section says that the unit has to be formed and recognized under the regulations of the State Fire Commission for local fire departments, right? And so if you look at the regulations to create a local fire department, they do talk about county fire prevention units. So where I'm really ultimately coming from is, if the county is enacting a county fire prevention unit, what's the structure and what's the role of the county's involvement with this organization? In other words, do you still intend on being a separate private, not-for-profit type entity? Or are you going to come under the umbrella of the county? What's the management structure going to be like of this organization? Things of that nature, on top of the fact that I'm not sure under the state code that this letter is the sufficient action of the county commission, and so creating a county fire prevention unit. I think that the county would have to take separate action to vote to approve the formation of a county fire prevention unit, and then go with the letter. Does that, you understand what I'm saying? So like, it's not clear to me how you think that this organization is going to be structured in relation to the county.
Okay, well, we have 26 certified instructors and firefighters at the training facility. the Fayette County Fire Association is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have a board of directors already in place, which the chief of Armstrong Creek, Shannon Estep, is our president. He would oversee this unit. And we meet every month. I've already spoke in front of the State Fire Commission. I did that 2 weeks ago. And the only stipulation that hurt us was this support letter from the county commission. Everything else, if you look at the list of the fire prevention unit policy, it specifies everything that we would follow under the state code.
What list are you talking about?
Josh, did you get that, or I can email it real quick to the commissioners?
Is it what you emailed me?
Yes.
Yeah, I got it here, I can.
You can send it to Ruth or Wilbert, we can print it.
Gotcha.
Who is your, perhaps maybe who's your contact at the fire marshal's office? And maybe if I talk with them, we can see clarity, because I'm looking at like their rules and regulations related to licensings of things. And I don't see any separate rule or regulation that relates to a training center other than the rules and regulations that relate to them authorizing programs, to certify that you get your credits and the appropriate, that they're like that. But as for this entity that you're creating, I keep coming back to, it seems to just fall under the regulations for a quote local fire department.
That's not correct.
So
you can contact Chief Robbie Bailey at the fire marshal's office.
okay.
And when Josh can print out that list, or Ruth can here shortly, it'll show you everything as far as the fire prevention unit. There are already 3 in place.
Where are those 3? Where are those?
Jefferson County, Berkeley County, and it's another one up in the Eastern Panhandle.
And are those county fire prevention units, so they're not solely doing training, right? The county has hired firefighters to place into volunteer fire department entities so that they're fully serviced, right? That's my understanding of what those counties are doing.
They first started as fire prevention units, which was doing training and fire prevention. They have now went to a full fire department.
Okay.
That's not what we want to do. We're just trying to do this so we can get grants.
Like, for example, the Jefferson County Fire Prevention Unit, is that controlled by the county commission, or is there a separate entity, like a 501c, that is running that entity?
I'm not sure. You'd have to contact the fire marshal's office.
Okay.
So I will say that I had spoken with them, and I spoke to Chris Burford, who's doing some of their projects and stuff, about applying for grants, because
right.
While I support the idea of the fire training center, I'm concerned that the levy is not the way to fund it. And so I expressed my support for any grant applications. I'm just wondering, John, is it untenable to do grant applications under one of the fire department members of the training center for some reason?
Well, it's like this past year on our AFG grant, Chief Richardson let me do it through the Oak Hill Fire Department on behalf of the association. However, that blocks me from doing anything else with Oak Hill, so that's not fair, because every department we have needs different things. So this would give us an opportunity to do it ourselves, and still each department can still apply for their own grants.
Is there an association file for grants together?
And is the association ineligible for these grants because of its status, or?
Yes.
So it has to have some kind of official government status. I think, at least the way I followed what Michael was saying, and I think it is going to necessitate a conversation between you and the fire marshal's office, just so we can get it right when we do it is it's hard to understand, given that there is a nonprofit largely involved with the training side of things. This fire prevention unit is going to have a government umbrella. So how does that work between the county commission and the fire prevention unit versus the training center and the fire association that's a nonprofit? And I think that's just that doesn't mean this can't be done. It's just a matter of how do we do it right so everybody knows what's going on or what, how it works.
Even if you did that, Michael, I'm just curious, can you write a memorandum of understanding?
Well, I mean, certainly, I mean, there has to be a memorandum of understanding pursuant to the regulations by the fire marshal that whenever a county fire prevention unit is established, that they have to operate under memorandum of understandings with the local fire departments.
Well, I'm talking about.
And we have that already in place from every chief in the county.
Right. And so I'm guessing, did you submit an application to the fire marshal regarding this this unit? Is there an application process?
No, you request to be on the agenda. You send them what the request is, and then the State Fire Commission reviews it.
Okay. Did they have like a list of documents or things that you needed to submit, including the letter?
No.
No.
The only thing that they request is a support letter from the county commission. Everything else is in that email I sent to Josh that can be printed for you all.
Okay.
So it sounds to me like you need to have a discussion on our behalf with
Robbie Bailey
them and figure out how we need to, I mean, I do want them to have the ability to apply for these grants. I do. And I just want to make sure that the lines are clean between the fire association and the fire prevention unit.
Right.
So that we're in compliance.
Exactly. And that's the concern, is if you create this entity that's a governmental entity, essentially, then does it fall under the county's insurance policy? What if who owns the building? If there's a fire, if it's a county fire prevention unit and one of the trainer gets hurt, whose workers' comp or liability insurance is going to be?
Trainer, what about
somebody that shows up like that? It's unclear to me if we're creating a county fire prevention unit, what is the role of the county in this? And that's the unclarity that I have. Because
I got a question for you.
Sure.
With your unclarity, what's the difference in now us doing all the training at the training facility now?
Well, because the 501c3 entity is the responsible organization, the county has no involvement over that. So if a trainee gets hurt and they need to sue somebody, they're going to sue the 501c3 organization. They're not going to sue the county. The county cannot make decisions related to the fire training center right now, or the organization of it. So they're completely separate entities at all. But if the county is creating a county fire prevention unit, that may implicate liability onto the county. And so that's why we need to make sure before we do this, that we're going in with open eyes as to that, because if the county wants to support it, then they'll support it, but they need to make sure that you're under their insurance, that there's somebody that the county can have that controls the operations if it's a county entity, versus if it's a 501c3, that's a whole separate deal. The county's only involvement is when the fire association comes and requests allocations of funds, that the county's giving them an allocation of funds, just like they would give any other organization that's a non-governmental entity an allocation of funds. That's within their powers as the fiscal agent for the county. So that's the concern is the liability aspects of, if the county says, yeah, we have a county fire prevention unit,
what's the liability on the
What
county? for
activities
that?
are what are covered under what? Like
Right.
that, it's all gonna have to be identified. So John, can I give Michael your contact information? I'd like him to participate in, if you could meet with them or have a phone call, include him in it. So everybody's on the same page, and so he can hear the questions and, answer the ones that we don't have the answers to.
Maybe the reason more of this why the questions are being asked
Yeah,
and
Michael.
why things have to be done a certain way.
Yeah, that's, yes, and just, I saw this evaluating fire prevention unit policy on, I pulled that off, and the thing that again is a bit concerning from a liability standpoint is it says in the first paragraph, these rules govern the requirements and procedures for certification and recognition of personnel hired by the county to operate in the role of the fire prevention unit. And so now are the trainers going to be employees of the county? Because then that implicates other issues regarding payroll, health insurance. I mean, we have to go in with open eyes as to what we're actually agreeing to with this.
Basically, what we need to ask is how we can accomplish what we want to accomplish, which is to enable them to apply for their own grants without
Yes,
impeding the ability of an individual fire department to do it. Even if the county itself can do it on their behalf. Like, I just want to know, like, what we can do to open that door.
sure. And just thinking out loud, and we can talk to the fire marshal, it could be a situation where the county creates a fire prevention unit. And then the 501c3 of the training center still remains in existence. And there's an agreement between the two that the county, they have maybe one employee or something like that meets these requirements that can then apply for the grants and things of that nature. And then funnel that money over to the 501c3 to operate, but the liability of the day-to-day operations of the training center fall on the 501c3 as opposed to the county. Because if I highly doubt, knowing you all over the years that we've been negotiating these various things, that you want the county to manage the fire training center day to day. You absolutely don't want that.
Manage it either.
No, so, and I don't think the county wants to manage it either. So there may be a pathway forward where this entity gets created, but but we're not converting the 501c3 to the county. They maintain separate, areas, but there's a MOU can get worked out or something along those lines. That may be the solution. I don't know if the fire marshal will go for that, but that's something that can be explored. It's just, if the county if this training center becomes a county thing, that's probably not, while we may accomplish the goal of being able to apply for grants, I don't think it's going to accomplish the ultimate goal of both parties. And we just want to make sure that we're going in with everybody's going in with open eyes about what this actually means. So I will call Chief Robbie Bailey, today, see if I can get a hold of him and talk through this issue and see what they have to say. And if it's a situation where the state fire marshal affirms to us that the 501c3 is fine to operate as a county fire prevention unit, it doesn't implicate oversight by the county, then I'm sure that's fine. That can accomplish the goals. So that's kind of where I think we're at on that.
Ruth has sent us all Chief Bailey's information.
Perfect.
And John, can I send Michael your contact information?
Yeah, my schedule's open, so
Okay,
to set up a meeting with Chief Bailey, I can be there.
Okay.
perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Send this now, I'm thinking about it.
You're ready.
We'll take a quick break.
Yeah, you can take a break. Probably
5 minutes.
need one. I want to call this meeting back to order. Hey, Ms. Taylor, what you?
Okay, so with regard to the fire budgets, I'm gonna For one thing, I think starting next levy cycle, and I just thought of this while talking to Ruth, but next levy cycle, John, I think we ought to get compliance or somebody involved to help us sort through these budgets. Just do some outside, because everything's gonna have to come up again, you know, the truck allotments and all that stuff. And it'd be nice to have a bookkeeping service on board doing that stuff, and then if any of the fire departments wanted to engage help with doing their financial statements or anything else, they could, but for our purposes. But for now, I'm gonna make a motion that we allocate last year's budget, and what was that, the 23-24?
That's
budget?
last year, this year's 24.
Okay, so the 24-25 budgets, well, no, 23-24 is the column that
Is this, is what they
No,
had
that-
up until June of this year.
that I'm basing it on.
Yeah, that if you're basing it on last year, yeah.
Yes, so the 23-24 budgets plus 5% increase. And that's my recommendation for the budgets. That's my motion.
Do you have one, John? Do you have a recommendation?
No, I'm trying to figure out, okay, I see it now, 23-24. I was looking at the 22-23 and I said, wait there.
And Ruth has, if anybody doesn't know what that is, Ruth has all the numbers and can provide them to each department.
Is that what they turned in, or is that what they, what is?
That's what they had in their, when we had a fire coordinator, what their budget.
That's what
was.
Steve and Becky were tracking. They have a big spreadsheet. I'll give it to you. It's actually, once it gets all the time, it'll be great.
Talking about the figures like under our previous contract.
Maybe
I think,
this, if that tells you anything, if you can see that one. I'll print it for you.
but she's gonna give everybody a copy.
Yeah.
So you have it, and then add a 5% increase. Now, listen, if other stuff has gone up inflation wise more than that, I mean, just submit it. You know, that stuff, we're gonna see that stuff you've been paying, and we're gonna, I'm sure, reimburse it. But as for just a budget number to work off of, until we can get compliance involved, which we're gonna do at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the levy cycle, so we can start getting all that hammered out.
And is everybody registered with Checkbook West Virginia?
We signed up for it, they're supposed to contact us.
Okay, we need to follow up with that.
I guarantee you they're not. You know
We're
who's off the
still
clock out
That's not her.
Not y'all. I guarantee that it's like, I mean, we have trouble getting in touch with auditors' office. I'd be surprised if they have it all together.
Us at meetings, if some of the fire departments would sign up because they needed a pilot project and they needed some volunteer fire departments to sign up for it. And several of the fire departments did.
And nobody's heard a thing.
Fayetteville's already because our county, so we're part of the.
Would it have to be?
I forget who it was, but several of the county fire departments did give them, I remember the meeting, gave them, here's our information, we would participate as a pilot project. They weren't even close, like you said, they weren't even close to having it ready.
I would be in shock because there have been all kinds of issues, you know,
We
auditor
started
related
ours in
issues.
May, and it's still, what they gave us the last time, it still wasn't done. That was in September. We have to do
Yeah,
it. done.
so,
And I'm not aware that he'll has stepped forward to engage that.
But I really think.
well, it
there's
sounds like
always
if you did, you wouldn't have heard back from them anyway. But I mean, they always come out with these programs and everything's great and shiny and pretty and cool, and then it never goes off the way they hope it will. And I think that's what's happening here, because if we started doing it, because counties are supposed to be on it or have the option to be on it, and we're not even fully on it yet.
It'll be awesome when
What
it's done.
John indicated when they came to one of our association meetings where they were striving to create a pilot program for this. So it sounds like they were.
They're gonna have to come up with something, because when they passed the law that increased the funding we've been getting the last 2 years. Part of that law states that the fire department would comply with that by a certain date. So they're either gonna have to change that when they amend that part of the law, or they're gonna actually have to come up with something.
Yeah, I think it's 2026 is when it has to be.
There's also a lot of hands-on to keep that up to date. a lot of work to keep it up to date, the checkbook system.
Well, did you have recommendations, John?
No, I mean, I'll try to reach out to them and see what's going on.
No,
See if we-
I'm sorry, I'm talking about the fire budgets.
Oh, no, I'm cool.
I'm cool with my
Yeah.
motion. Okay, so that's my motion.
Oh, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
What was it?
I thought you seconded.
Five-
No, I was waiting,
I was sitting
I was waiting on you,
waiting for
John.
you.
The 24 budgets plus 5%.
Hey, Josh, I'll update that and then I'll email it to you and you
Can you do the 5% so they can know what it is? Okay,
Is that it?
and I'm gonna need somebody from our office, Ruth, if it turns out that, you know, we see a pattern that people don't have enough in there, that if we need to increase it. But just for the time being, wanted to give you something to work with.
Now, we're still not going to like pump testing and all that stuff, that don't come out of that.
see, that's what, that was.
We were talking about that, so I think what we probably need to do for the
That's
stuff,
never before, so.
for the stuff that applies, yeah, the stuff that applies to everybody that we're gonna be doing in bulk. We were talking about maybe forming a different account for that and, you know, taking it out of that.
So
So,
it doesn't come out of your operating budget.
yeah, not out of your operating budget.
Okay.
So that's what we were talking about, just like something like these purchases we just made and stuff.
Right.
But for the levy,
Like the safety stuff, like that, all. Be like.
fire prevention stuff, like all that
Yeah, like I
stuff.
said, I still got, we're doing pump testing, hose testing, all that's going on right now, and they're starting to get, I talked to, I don't know, UG and somebody. But she wanted all of them, and then send them all to her.
How long are the fire departments supposed to get this money that we're getting, that we just started getting, that we've?
Supposed to be recurring every year.
It's supposed to be every year until the legislature changes it?
I think that with the new governor coming in, there may be some changes coming.
Well, I think, I mean, you might wanna kind of look at it like, and I think you have so far based on the purchases you've made, just like we did with the COVID money. Like have your regular expenses coming out of the levy, and then extraordinary expenses like, you know, the fit test machine and the special equipment, you know, nice to haves. You know, get those out of this money that the state provided, and that way, you know, if that goes away, you're still able to fully operate, you're not depending on it. Cause I mean, we don't know how long, I mean, I'm always suspicious when they do, especially during election year, you start getting money all of a sudden you didn't get, you know. Yeah, I wouldn't depend on that. I would definitely, you know, ask for your toys out of the one and your operating stuff, you know. functional stuff.
What's left over from the lottery, I think right now, so we don't know. Even levy funding mechanism.
The fire coordinator, like who would it be?
I don't know how much we got, but Josh, you can check with Ruth and let everybody know at the next association meeting. I think we got some more money from the state, so
Yeah.
just find out from Ruth and she'll tell you, so you guys can talk about that at that meeting.
And that's multiple.
All right, so we have to go to our personnel issue and we have to go back to Frontier.
Okay, he's back too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, pass it last one. Then we can.
I think, George, what's your name?
Jordan,
Yep.
do you got the information?
Yeah. Our
I'll
team,
get your name.
our team said they are busy compiling it and they'll send it to you this afternoon. If y'all want to give me an email on that, we're happy to do that.
Okay,
If it doesn't meet your old schedule, we understand as well.
Well, when is this,
when is the deadline for this?
yeah,
Next Thursday.
Talk about a skinny teeth.
well, I guess if we get it, the information, I mean, that's kind of, we need to make a decision today, or can we make a special meeting?
Dependent on the support letter, it was mother.
That's not dependent on the support letter, I mean, hell, I don't think
County
it is.
administrator, I guess.
I'll send it over. Have our team send it. We appreciate your all's time.
Okay,
See
thank you. All right,
Yeah.
He was the head of the Republican States. Jordan was the head of the Republican Party 4 years ago.
Oh, was he? So what do you want to do with this? Because should we hold up city nets or should we?
No, I think you should do city nets. I still.
I just want more information from them before I move on that.
Yeah, I know you, that guy, he gave me a dirty look out there.
But I don't have a problem voting for city.
I don't have a problem.
Yeah, city
And he's got this person, I mean, they can't believe I'm going for something right there.
I have a question. Pretty good, all right, partner. On the balance,
Yeah.
that money there for us to use, will carry over? I can't get a clear answer.
That's your carryover. I mean, I think it stays with the fire department, so, because some of them have been saving, I don't think it'd be right
I mean, that's,
to take it, yeah,
why I'm asking.
yeah.
Since I've
It's-
taken over, nobody will give me a clear answer. Because I've got to get the figure.
Right, well, this is the records, I got this off the computer.
Good.
That I guess Steve and Becky were using and just updated it for this year, so.
So that, I mean,
I
I
think
just want
that
to
should
verify
be
that
good.
money's
Yeah.
available if I need it.
There just
They-
hasn't been a clear definition of carryover from levy or levy. There are opinions that there is no carryover, there is carryover.
So one of the problems, and I'll tell you, because I had this conversation with Becky, is our system doesn't reflect that. And this is the first time I saw this sheet when I went and got it off the computer, and that clarifies a lot, like in my mind. Because I think like Loop Creek, they saved their money for something, I don't think it's right for them to be able to save their money and then give it to
Well, the
somebody else.
question we had was, there was never any language in any contract that stated there was a carryover, there wasn't carryover. Steve Cruikshank referred to that there was. I asked, I said, well, show us documentation where it's accounted for that there is a carryover.
I mean, is that not what y'all are saying right now, that this carryover they've carried stays with those fire departments? For this levy cycle, this year, for 5 years, is that, I mean, I would clarify that,
Well, I think it should carry with them.
I do too. And then next year's a new levy cycle,
I
so.
mean, we've always saved that money for a down payment on a truck.
Mhm,
And now that I'm getting ready to buy a truck, I need to know what funds I have available, is why I'm asking.
And this is updated through June, didn't update it last June.
And we never have a carryover. We haven't, we just, our operational expenses are at that level where they did. They anticipated they had a carryover, and I feel his pain in stating we were anticipating, we had a budget every year and we didn't exceed that budget. We assumed that it was a carryover. But my question was, there was never any documentation that a fire chief could say, you know, I have documentation, that it was always a verbal discussion, but nothing documented.
Yeah, I don't think it should be put in a documentation. That's just the way I feel about it. I don't know how y'all feel about it. That's just the way
I
I feel
think the
about it.
people that have a carryover need some assurance that they do have a carryover.
I can understand
Ruth
that.
is referring to.
I think perhaps we should discuss that in detail with.
Mike, do you have any suggestions on that?
What were you gonna say?
I mean, I think that's what y'all just approved, but you didn't specify, you're approved based on this spreadsheet, right?
Do you have any suggestions?
Well, so I think when you do the budget allocation, which you just did, the budget allocation should for each individual fire department budget if they have a carryover, should be included in the new budget allocate. Does that make sense? So like your expenses were $100,000 for last year, so you're getting $105,000 this year, but if you had a carryover, that would carry over.
You have those two.
Yeah, but
I guess
But
in
it
this,
would have to be a per yearly like this commission cannot, there's gonna be a new commission in January, right? This commission can't bind a future commission for future budgetary allocation. So it would have to be, so there can't be a written assurance that if for 5-year cycle, you get to keep your carryover because a new commission could come in and say, no, I disagree with that.
well,
And that's their right, but when you allocate it yearly, in the yearly allocation, that carryover should be reallocated to the entity that carries it over.
So that they would have their distribution is agreed, what that figure is. Then the carryover would be.
The balance from your, yeah, and that would be in the budgetary, like spreadsheet line item, if you
I
will.
look at it as a little different. I mean, we call it carryover, but I see it as like a set aside.
Sure.
I mean, they have set aside certain amounts of their budget every year to fund a down payment on a fire truck or a new building. I think I have an add-on station here. Payments on a ladder truck, apparatus. So they have set aside this money. So to me, it's not like they had their full budget and didn't spend it like on regular stuff. Like it's me like saving to buy a car or something. It's just a different pot of money. And so they're wanting to know if they can still have the pot of money that these departments, you know, Montgomery in particular, has saved quite a bit for a truck. It's my view they should get that. Next levy cycle, though, I think we need to do it differently. I think doing the set aside is, you know, I think you just need to come in, it needs to come out of the larger pot of money for the trucks and stuff like that.
Just, okay. You're really talking about two separate things there because we anticipate having an engine replacement program that so many X number of departments qualify for a certain amount of funding over the next levy. But this figure that we're talking about, I'll say carryover, is not convoluted with that. That's his money separately.
I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, I don't think that's a good way to do it moving forward. You know, we're gonna be on a 4-year levy cycle. I think that what we want is the operating budgets for the fire departments, and then we want the big trucks to come out of a bigger pot of money that is managed by the commission rather than people having to set aside money and they're, you know, that they were allocated. Like that's what I think should happen. Now, my colleagues might not agree with me.
Historically, if that funding is identified for the department that have that.
I don't think they should lose the funding they've already set aside. I think that money should stay with them. But I think moving forward, we should get rid of the carryover program and give the departments what they need to operate. And then when the association comes in and says, these are our truck priorities, then let the commission allocate the money from the levy for those. You know, I mean, in some cases, we might want to pay for the truck, you know, instead of do payments or.
That's what would have to happen, because the reason that this whole thing started was the truck replacement fund. Generally would pay for about half of what a truck would cost, and the departments were responsible for the other half. That's the reason they set aside money to do that, to do what you're speaking of, which I don't necessarily disagree. That means that you would have to take the full cost of replacing the truck from that levy money that you're speaking of, instead of half of it being responsibility of the department and half of the cost of that coming from the levy.
Well, I mean, not that I like to reinvent the wheel, because I definitely don't, but this might be something if we can get compliance involved with looking at these budgets to see what expenses make sense for the fire departments to undertake and what makes sense for the levy. I think these bigger things are things that the levy should be handling.
I'm not saying that's a bad idea, I'm just wondering, like, I want you to understand.
Well, I don't know if that would work.
If you're looking
I'm
at the
not
past-
dealing with the budget,
past
so I'm
money
asking
that the
you.
Levy took for the truck replacement, it's gonna be vastly more than what's been taken out of the levy for truck replacement in the past. Because now you'd be looking at taking the full cost of trucks, not half the cost of the price. I just want everybody to be aware of that.
So, but like which budgets are providing the rest of the cost for the trucks that the levy's not paying for?
Yeah, the department, smaller departments, it's just whatever they have, the state monies, and whatever they set aside. Departments like their bill may also include money from the municipality. So, in the past. So,
When is your next association? meeting?
Tomorrow.
What's tomorrow? Let me see if I can get it.
My understanding what they just allocated is if you had a carryover from Powell.
I might be able, what time is it?
That spreadsheet, that carryover in with the new budgets.
If I can't go tomorrow, I'll come next month.
Where we were sitting at with this. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was always a concern.
Well, do you guys publish an agenda before your meetings? Okay, so I wouldn't be, when is your meeting Are you gonna have one in November?
The only problem is buying.
Second,
First,
first,
for two. That would be the problem on this.
So the 14th. Do you know where that one's gonna be?
Handstand and you're like.
You could put that as a budgetary. You're gonna have to leave the much budget.
At 7, right?
Whatever, but.
1930.
That's your budgetary category. Then it's allocated.
I'm gonna reach out to compliance in the intervening time. If you guys wouldn't mind putting me on your agenda or putting this issue on your agenda, and then I'll see if I can get somebody from there and.
Talks about.
Yeah. Yeah, and you might get to come with me to the meeting, but anyway, and we'll come and brainstorm with you about what might make sense for next levy cycle. As far as the budgets and the trucks and, you know, so we can.
It would be good to start talking about it now.
Now, yeah, let's talk about it now and come up with a plan, so when the year hits, you know, we've got people on board.
So I'm gonna update this and then they'll have this sheet for each fire department with the total for starting with.
Okay,
And then they'll have it and then, you know, it's there.
okay.
It's actually in writing instead of everybody just.
So we have a commission meeting on the 14th of November. Can you pencil in come and take some comp time or something, but 7:30 that evening in Ansted is the fire association.
So that's a long ways off. You want to make plans that far.
Yes, ma'am. And then you and I can talk after and figure out who we need to bring with us. Well, y'all are welcome. But I just want to get some ideas from them and then we'll make some decisions. All right, so we've got the employee issue and we've got the city net and frontier issues. Okay, so I'm going to go make another motion to approve the city net bead application support letter.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, and what do you want to do about frontier? I want that information before we make a decision.
Yeah, until we get the information.
So do you want to approve it if they have made progress in Fayette County? Or
Do you want us to decide like a minimum progress or maybe?
John, what do you think, buddy? Come on now,
any ideas, Anthony?
I just,
come on now.
I think I see more progress with city at this point in time than I do with Frontier. So if I were to make it, I would just say no on Frontier for right
We
now.
can do enough pro tunc if they give us a compelling set of data, honestly.
It has to be very compelling.
Would have to be for me too,
So
frankly,
you disagree with Frontier?
right
Yes.
now.
Right now, I do.
I just
Yeah.
want to hear it. I didn't know whether you did. or not. I mean, I have from the
Yeah.
very beginning, but I mean.
Okay, but I want to see what they submit. So I just, moved to table the Frontier decision, or unless we get.
Yep.
Something from them.
To firm it up.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Okay, and on the, employee request for accommodations, I'm gonna move that we have our, council send a letter to the employee based upon, the discussions in executive session. There were no decisions made, other than one. I'm gonna move that we, decline the requested accommodations because, of the legal advice we received that, how did you word it? The
individual has not met the requirements to be eligible for an accommodation that would permit that said employee to perform essential job functions of the task. And even if that employee could meet the qualification, which based upon the information that we've received, that employee does not, there is no accommodation that can exist that we're aware of. And that we've been analyzed and looked at various things, including a reassignment and other aspects where that employee could perform their essential job.
Okay, so for those reasons, I move that we, have our attorney send a letter to that effect to the employee, with regard to the accommodations request, which are accommodations that don't even accommodate the current ability to do the job, like it's the way Michael explained it.
Second, and I would like to have heard you say, repeat everything that Mike said.
Well, I know, well, I mean, I understand it, but I don't know if I could articulate it. But basically, like, there wasn't a return to work. The way the accommodations request was written by the physician,
Right.
the employee would not be able to return to work. So the employee has not been released to return to work.
To perform an essential job.
To perform essential job function, so therefore we're not even in a position to approve or deny accommodation request. So our council is gonna send a letter to the employee to that effect. The deadline on place a deadline on the employee's ability to respond to the employee's options.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Somebody second it?
John did. John second. John
Okay.
second.
Are y'all leaving?
Yeah, I am.